I had the window up, and now I can't find what I do with my window. That's crazy. Let me pull it back up one more time. Here we go. All right. Let me see. Ray, I got it. I think. Work with me, baby. Work with me, baby. I don't need to share that. All right. You can't see me, but you can hear me, right? Ray, you there?
Yep,
All
I'm here.
right. Evening, good evening, good evening. You know me, I'm trying to be Miss Do It All on the technical side. I need to be an engineer. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody. Listen, please like, subscribe, share the channel. I don't even want you to do nothing else until you understand that me and my brother are live. Me and my brother are live.
Yes,
Matter of fact,
yes, yes.
Ray, I'm about to go live right now on Instagram. Hopefully, yep, I'm live. Just checking my connection. We're live. Hey, people, listen, we are live right now on Shatter the Glass. Come over to YouTube. Let's have real level, high level conversations. Join me right now, YouTube at Shatter the Glass, ShatterTheGlass. Okay. I'm telling you, go over to YouTube because I don't want to have my cell phone ringing like this. Okay. I'm a new mom. I need to be able to hear some things. Real talk, but I'm so happy, happy, happy that you are here. I'm excited. My brother's here. I haven't seen you physically in a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's good to see your face.
Hmm.
Come on in, y'all. Go head over to YouTube. I'm gonna leave this up for just a quick second because I want you to get a taste and a touch of this. You understand? Let me introduce my brother properly. Tonight, I don't call him LaShawn Marston because I mean he don't even use that name that much, right? And so shout out to Mama Kim. I mean, for blessing you with the name and everything, but we don't even use it out here in these streets. In these streets, my brother is called Sugar Ray, and ain't nothing sweet about him. Now I'm joking. That's my baby. I love him. I love him. Everything is sweet about him. 1000%. He's one of the sweetest people I know. And I always tell him that. He is a motivator. He's an educator. He's an activist. He's a Pan Africanist.
Hmm.
He's he's a low key historian. Okay. I love the fact that my brother is a reader. Some of
Hmm.
y'all need to jump on that level and get into these books like he do. He's the ultimate supporter. I've never seen anyone go hard for other people to the same magnitude that he does, which is why and how he will always have my respect. You can't come and say nothing to me crazy about him because I'm going to check you on that because I know where his heart is always at. Even if you got to, bump elbows with him because that's what I do as big sis, but at
Absolutely.
the end of the day, his heart is pure and genuine. And so when I see that people if you got any issues with that, then I probably got an issue with you because I know you don't know my brother well enough to
Mm.
understand what he's working on and trying to do. Um, with that being said, please, please, Instagram hop over to YouTube, hop over to YouTube. Let's get into this discussion.
Yes, yes.
My brother,
My sister.
peace and
Sister.
beloved King. Listen, I want
Congratulations to you. Wait, first, congratulations to you, right? Being a new mom. Like
to think.
I think one of the greatest things that we can do is, in our own lives for ourselves is to like replicate ourselves, to duplicate ourselves, to immortalize us in creating children, and so
Yes.
like, Many blessings to you and your husband.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Thank
I'm proud of you, and I'm excited to see, like, you've done so much for so many. You poured into so many children for so long, and I'm excited now to see, how your child grows. How your fruit grows. I know they're
I
gonna
know.
be they're gonna be real intelligent. They're gonna be real witty, real freaking witty and sarcastic, and
Super, right? My kid is definitely the kid saying that ain't what my mom said. That ain't what I learned. He's gonna be in there correcting people if we even go that direction, because that's a whole nother conversation to
Mhm.
even talking about do you make this decision to homeschool or not homeschool and all this other type of stuff. What
Yep.
do you act to it? But I want to jump right on into you on what inspires you to do this work in the community. Like what's I'm jumping in straight with you. What is pushing your heart factor to say it's bigger than me?
Ultimately is like it's my spirit. You know, we know that life is eternal, right? We know that life is everlasting. Energy just continues to go, right? Transforms and it transfers. So we know that like we've been here before, right? We
Yeah.
spirit has always existed. And so I just literally, since for as long as I can remember, I remember a world that's better than this world. I can remember that. I can remember a time before this. Then we can read about times where we weren't killing each other, where we were living to a 90, 100 years old regularly without being sick, right? Like we could remember we're the same generation. We could remember maybe our parents talking about like when somebody would die back in the days, they just went to sleep and didn't wake up. Their heart just stopped. They didn't have cancer. They didn't have diabetes. They weren't like, chronic illness. Their heart, it was just their time. But now it's like, yeah, some of us are living to 80 and 90, but we've been taking medication for 40 years, 50 years. So like just remembering a time that's better than the time I was born in. That's ultimately what inspires me. Just the beauty of life, my own, mainly inspired by my own vision and inspired by the stories before me, inspired by the stories alongside me, inspired by you, inspired by life, like the goods, the ups, the downs, the bads, I think life should inspire, right? Like it's spirit, right? You're in spirit. You should always be in spirit. You should always feel the energy of the times, the sound of the times. You know what I mean? Being tuned, and then act accordingly.
Facts. I want to know. I'm gonna try to see if I can reverse the camera so those that's on live stream. Hello, hello, hello. Um, Again, please come on over to YouTube. Come on over to YouTube at Shatter the Glass. Um, we come from a place where when we say, "Oh, my hood," right?
Mm-hmm.
The hood don't love you. These streets don't love you. How do you push through that type of noise?
Just that is noise, right? Because anyone can say that about anybody anywhere, all right? When you live amongst, 10, 12,000 people, there's always going to be some people that's, in opposition or some people that don't want to see you win, right? That's period. Like you have a small village and that happens,
Yeah.
so you just have to know that, yeah, not everyone's going to love you. But if you are doing good work and positively impacting even their families, right? Like then, I think you have a better chance at just having basic respect. And I think that's what's missing from humanity right now, is just a basic respect for each other as parents,
Mhm.
as just living beings, as children of someone, as someone's grandchild, right? And if we really think, we really look back far enough, like Neil deGrasse Tyson speaks about having a cosmic perspective. We can go back and we can look and say maybe 5, 6, 7 generations back, my great great was close with your great great, right? So like, why would our heart, we come from the same place literally, and we may be going through the same struggle. So is I think that the streets don't love you, people don't love you. That comes from a hurt perspective, because there are people who will tell you that the streets, and I'm gonna be the first to say the streets, and literally people in the streets love me and support me, and I think they're rocking with me because what I speak is real. Like my work is real work. I'm not throwing nobody under the bus. I'm not trying to like preach nothing. I'm not living like, yo, we just got to do better. We got to do better. We got to be able to make money, live life, live as long as possible, prosper without going to jail, and without our friends dying so much. Simple thing. I think everybody wants the same thing. But what
Right.
happens is when people say the streets don't love you is because even sometimes when someone comes from the streets, they change up and they start talking bad about the streets. They start talking bad about people. They start separating themselves and saying, y'all keep. And it's like, now, like like, I know that like what I was doing 16, 17, 18 years ago, like not only did my peers take it, but like the young generation. So like, they're like, Sugar Ray, you did it. So I can't say them. I gotta know that like I helped create that. And so like
Right.
we just gotta figure it out together. And like everybody got a part to play. So I'm trying to do my part to the best of my ability. Now you gotta do your part.
Right. I love it. I love it. You and I are both big on talking about manifesting,
Mhm.
bringing positive energy into a space, looking at being a little optimistic, right? Sometimes
Yes.
people be like, yo, you on fairy tale time. It's like, nah, it's not fairy tale. It's I can manifest this and make it happen. Talk to me about a time that was something that you manifested, that you brought to life, that you are proud of in this moment in time.
The life that I'm currently living. I remember coming out of prison in 2007, changing my life in 2008, the end of 2008, and saying, buying a video camera, saying I'm gonna do content, and then 2009 saying I'm gonna also do, build community, like stuff is messed up. Um, how do you say it? Like, ask your question again. It slipped my mind. One more
No, it's
time.
fine. It's fine. What is a moment that
A
you
moment manifested,
manifest?
yes.
Right.
So
Mhm.
me saying that, like, yo, I can earn enough income to take care of my life, take care of myself, support people I love, support causes I love without working for someone else, and without having the typical nonprofit structure, and doing it the way that people before me have done it. I said I can do it as an independent artist, creating products, creating things, as well as being paid by people and institutions just for existing. And I manifested that like 100%.
I
Like
love
the last 3-4 years have been absolutely beautiful, in spite of all of the challenges. Right, it's been tons of challenges, tons of losses. Like so many losses on so many levels. But I manifested the world that I desired for myself. And we still manifesting. Like life is manifesting. We manifest whether we thinking about it or not, whether we're conscious of it or not. Every thought you have manifests. You know what I mean? Every thought you have becomes life. Like that's the beginning. The beginning, it was a thought, it's vibration. You know what I mean? And then it becomes word. So every thought, every word that you speak, it manifests a reality. And the key is to just be very intentional with what you're manifesting. Know why, right? So that even when you feel off course, even when you feel a little down, you feel a little defeated, it feels so far from you. It feels so like unattainable, unreachable. You're like, you know what? Like, no, I have to keep going because like this is the world. And again, it goes back to this is the world that was birthed. This is the vision rather that was birthed inside of me, like since my inception. You know what I mean? Like I don't know where it came from. I don't know why. Like sometimes I wish, I mean, I know more, but sometimes, some people will say that at some points in their journey that they wish they didn't have that commitment, to community and to doing like so-called God's work, right? To building heaven on earth, you know.
Mhm.
But it's like once you accept it, you know, you just go and like so. Yeah, in this
I,
moment, I'm most proud that I manifested, even down to the apartment I live in. I remember looking
mhm.
for an apartment and saying, "Yo, I need to get 2 bedrooms for less than $2,000 in this neighborhood, Long Island City, Astoria, that's walking distance or bus distance from Queensbridge." And I swear to everything I love, I manifested that. Literally down to the space, little backyard. I manifested where I live, right? I manifested certain relationships. I was a kid. I used to watch like I mean not Law and Order, New York Undercover, and I used to watch all these shows. And because I always wanted to be an actor, but then I started getting into like community. I was like, yo, not only do I want to be on those shows, but like I want to be friends, right? Like with senators. I want to be friends with these important people. And I literally like Councilwoman texted me at midnight. You know what I mean? Like the news lady, popular, one of the most popular news anchors in New York, probably in the country, she'll text me and be like, yo, anything going on that we could cover? Like I reach out to a local news outlet and they already know who I am.
I
like I
love it.
manifested that life. Like I'm one of the great ones. Like I'm one of the important ones now. So like manifesting literally the life that I'm living.
Who inspires you?
You inspired me, right? Literally, like you inspired me. Like there's so many people that inspire me like that are living. And I know most times when people ask that question, a lot of times people refer to like historically, right? And I'm gonna get there, but like it's people right now that inspire me. You inspire me. My nephew inspires me. Some of my close friends inspire me. Like just from, Kenny Carter, Taylor Murphy. And there's just so many more people. For so many different reasons. But historically, my top inspirations
Mhm.
are Michael Jackson and Tupac. Right outside of like my dad. My dad was a huge inspiration. My dad showed me entrepreneurship from a young age. He had his own business. So like that was the
Mhm.
biggest inspiration. Like you get up and you go get it on your own. You take care of your family off your own merit. So like my dad was the biggest inspiration for that. But Michael Jackson inspired me to like want to heal the world. At 7 years old in '91 when it dropped, I remember watching TV and saying, I want to do that when I get older. And I realized it wasn't singing or dancing. I couldn't sing or dance, right? I still can't sing or dance.
I was gonna say, don't sing, bro. Don't sing.
I don't. But it was his impact. Like I wanted to use my love of words. I knew very early that I loved words. And I wanted to use my love of words to just positively impact people, and have the impact that he had with like, because of his work, because of his aura, because of how he made you feel just from his words. When you saw him or really heard him in person, like you felt like, and like that's the impact I want to have. Because with that impact, like you can move people in the right direction, right? You can inspire people to forgive where maybe they would not forgive someone. You can inspire someone to love a little more when when they're ready to abandon love in any type of situation, whether it's as a parent, as a friend, as a lover. When you have that impact on people, you can do a lot of good.
I love it.
And then Tupac,
What's
'cause Tupac was a rebel.
Oh, go ahead with your Tupac. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Nah, you guys go share. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go
I
ahead,
mean,
because I think it's gonna lead into what I'm about to ask you. So go ahead.
he was just such he was an artist, right? He was an artist who understood I think like where he came from, and he understood what his purpose was, like what he could do with his life. With the knowledge that he had, right? With the DNA that he had, you know what I mean? He knew that he could use music, and maybe some people would say not in the most positive way, right? But he knew that he could speak to who he needed to speak to. And he did. He spoke to me. He spoke to a lot of us, right? Young generation who my dad had died, right? Like even before my dad died in '95, I was listening to Tupac with my uncle. My uncle was boxing, he used to train, and while training, he'll listen to Tupac, right? Tupacalypse Now and Strictly for My Niggas and those early albums, right?
Yeah.
And so it was his love of his craft, his love of his people, and his ability to wear his heart on his sleeve, right? His ability to like express his emotions as raw as they came. Right. That's what inspired me about him.
And with that, because I feel like Tupac was raw and authentic to a large extent, which is why he got the following that he did, the love that he did, and why when he passed, it hurt a lot of people,
Mhm.
right? I say the same thing about Biggs too. My thing is looking at it, he always addressed things that were real to the community, right? And address real issues of the community. That's why I said go ahead, because I knew it was going to lead me to it. What is something that you feel our community still needs um to in present day? Because there's a lot of stuff happening right now. Like the world is
Right.
different. The world is different. And so when you peel back the layers of everything going on, and you try to look for the root of this onion, what do you see there as one of the core issues that we have in our community that we need to give some love and attention to?
The most important thing, you already spoke about reading. One of my favorite books is The Seven Hermetic Principles, right? And the first principle, the all is the mind. You cannot go further than your mind can take you. So the first and most important thing to me is we need our mind state. Right? What
Mm-hmm.
is our mind state? What is our mindset? What are we thinking daily? What are we thinking about ourselves? What are we thinking about our community, our environment? What are we thinking about our friends? What are we thinking about our challenges? Every life is a thinking man's game, and he or she who thinks like the deepest and the most objective, right? that's who wins. That's who can avoid a lot of the traps, and that's who can build the world that they want to build. And so that will go with mental health, right? Like the state of our mind, the health of our mentality. That's the most important thing, right? We don't love ourselves. We don't love each other, even when we say we do. And we could tell we don't love each other by, I might say, like as a black man, I might say, yo, I love black men, right? But then let a black man's daughter say something or do something I don't like, and I'm ready to call all types of names, like maybe even more. So it's like, how do I really love that black man if I don't respect his daughter, even when she's saying something or doing something that I may not agree with or that may be offensive or hurtful? Like, how can I, like, what's the highest form of love? Is understanding that maybe that person is hurt, right? But yeah, it's our mindset and then our heart state, the state of our heart chakra. Like, we need to get it. We walk around with a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. So we need to heal on an emotional, mental level first and foremost, because even with all of the other stuff, like financial literacy, right? Even with that, if we don't got a right mindset, then yeah, we're making money, but we're not managing it, right? Because of other things, and we're managing it, but we're managing it in a way that's not really conducive to our overall health, mentally and emotionally, than physically, all right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think mindset and then our heart is we need to give more attention to our mind. And
All
and,
right.
and with that, we'll go with thinking about with giving more attention to our mind. We need to learn to understand how our brain is influenced, right? Like how food, right, influences our mind. And not just what we eat, what we listen to, what we see, like who we talk to, right? Like
Wait,
how.
hold it right. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Listen, Instagram, I gotta put the phone down because I need to relax as I talk to my brother. I thank y'all that all that just been popping up on the stream, but please go to YouTube, Shatter the Glass on YouTube. If you know me personally, inbox me if you need that link or something, but go to youtube.com at Shatter the Glass, click the button, subscribe, like. I'm doing brand new things. Please don't ask me that. Like, what happened to the teacher? That teacher stuff. Go to Reader for Smiles for that. That page is still live and active just for that. This is my space. So listen, go to YouTube, Shatter the Glass. My brother is over here dropping some real science, life science, and I need you to go that way to go get that knowledge because he is not done yet. And if you know him already, you know he got more to give. Go ahead, come over, see you on YouTube. Bye.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. I'm super, super just loving everything that you're saying now. I don't know. Instagram asking me, do I want to share and all this stuff. I ain't got time for that. It's about you right now.
Appreciate you.
you know, when we look at healthy mind, healthy living, um, mindset, first of all, you got to get the shift the mindset to even get to that part,
Mhm.
right? And so for those of people who don't know you, I just want to share real quick that he is vegan. He promotes the vegan lifestyle. He's the only one that I saw first. Now we got friends. I ain't leaving nobody out. But I will say the first one I seen took initiative to say, I'm gonna start talking to people about healthy eating at a larger scale, like more noise on it. What drove you to that? What
Um,
will how did you make the connection? So go ahead, because that's kind of where you was leaving off.
Yeah, it was a combination of really three things. Number one, when I was 11, my dad passed from stomach cancer. I was 14, my
Mm,
sister passed from a couple of different illnesses, right, including cancer and some other stuff. At 19, my granddad passed. My sister's granddad passed in between that. I was 20. I was 20 and I went to prison. And at 20 years old, my childhood friend George died in his sleep of an enlarged heart, right? So many different people, different ages, different backgrounds. George was in shape. He played basketball, right? Like he just passed the physical, right? Like
right.
how you have an enlarged heart. So many different people, different ages, different backgrounds, different lifestyles, passing from physical illness, right? So I'm like, okay, that was one thing. It was when I came from prison, I had a back injury. I had herniated disc in my back. And I remember my parole officer saying when he lost weight, he changed his diet. He wasn't vegan or anything like that. He just like, when I changed my diet and lost weight, the back pain went away. So like I researched, like weight and like back pain, like and what contributes to weight, right? And
Right.
it was like so many foods, like pastas, and so many starches, and make you fat, right? And so many meats and all of that stuff. Because you don't digest it. You know what I mean? And so it was that, and then it was remembering the old cliche, "You are what you eat," right? And questioning, like, because I changed my life, right? I was on this mission to make, create peace in our community, but I was still eating meat, and I started just thinking, like, it was like violence begets violence. So if we are violent to animals, we're going to be violent to each other because the spirit of violence exists within us. And actually, one of the reasons why we are violent is because of the food that we're eating. And I have to look at myself, right? I remember specifically a time I got arrested one time for robbing a pizza man. Right, I took the pizza from the pizza man as a teenager, but I had like almost $1,000 in my pocket. Right, so
Mm.
why did I do that? Impulsive, violent rage. Right, I don't know where it came from. Literally, I remember, why did you do some dumb shit like that? I don't know. I really didn't know. I just know that, like, I saw the pizza man, so I was like, yo, take his pizza. Right, but so when I go back, I say, okay, my brain was, I was literally wired. Right, my brain was wired to be violent. And then you add on not only what I ate, but my community and me seeing violence on TV and in comic books, and like it becoming part of how we express ourselves and how we live, how we get what we want through violence. But yeah, those three things, physical health, for myself, my loved ones dying, from physical illness that could have been, avoided altogether, or once, developed, could have been reversed if they would have made the diet changes, mostly, in most cases. Um, and yeah, just violence, right? Like wanting to cause less harm, wanting less harm to be caused, wanting my people to live longer without killing each other, without hurting themselves, loving themselves a little more, being a little more, forgiving, compassionate, a little more understanding, a little more, excited about life, and not so quick to end it, right? But when you're eating death, like that's what you feel. I remember having a death wish, not caring whether I lived or died, right? And when people say, "Oh, the food is not that important," there's studies. Those are people who don't read, because there's legit studies of students, of adults in prison, that once you change their diet, got them on a more whole foods, plant-based diet, their zest for life improved. They had less conflicts. Like they did a study in a prison somewhere in the Midwest, I believe. And they took half the prisoners for violent crimes, put them on a vegan diet, and over the course, I think like 30 to 60 days or something like that, not only were they less violent, but their focus went up, in their work and their education programs. Their relationships went up, like improved. Like, come on, like what you eat absolutely affects how you think and how you behave.
Yes, definitely your stomach is like your first your first brain power in
Yeah,
many, many ways. Thank you for sharing in on that, because I wanted that message to come out. I want people to go do the research. Don't take nothing from us. Go
I
look
know.
things up.
Look for yourself.
I am
Facts.
queen of telling you, go look it up.
Don't
But
take my
if you
word
want to
for it.
debate me, I promise you, I got links, sites, books, and every resources that you can get. And no, I do not subscribe to Wikipedia. No offense to Wikipedia, but that's not my source of information as an educator and a scholar. No, that's not. I don't count that as a primary resource
At all.
to use in debating folks on information. I like medical journals, you know what I
Yep.
mean? Like I like looking at that type of stuff, because in those medical journals they actually go all the way back to ancient Egypt
Yep.
on practices that were being used back then and still applying them today. I mean, we got that's a whole nother. I'm gonna bring you on to talk about that type of stuff. That we ain't gonna jump down that river pool just yet.
Hmm.
um you did tremendous work that I saw during this pandemic. Can you share with the people something that you did? I mean, I
Um,
could just say it, but I want you to tell your own story.
I mean, we did a couple of things, man, during the pandemic. We started the vegan food, giving out the vegan food weekly, twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays. Sometimes we did it 5 days a week in Astoria or Ravenswood or Queensbridge. We did a youth trip, took a bunch of young people from New York City and their parents and other adults down to DC. When we went down there, we did a walking tour. We had a whole vegan festival, vegan feast down there on the Great Lawn. Right, we hired some chefs from DC to make food. Raised a bunch of money, from a bunch of people, bought a bunch of food, got some buses, gave everybody books. We gave everybody a copy of Asada, right? Asada Shakur's
Mm.
autobiography, and we gave everyone a copy of Message to the Black Man by Elijah Muhammad.
Ooh,
Gave everybody
powerful.
a copy of both of those books. We did that. We started a outdoor spoken word poetry session outside on the basketball court where I actually shot a gun and caught my case. We transformed that space into a positive spot. Every Saturday for a couple of months we did poetry and we did freestyles and people danced and people just like talked about stuff that was on their mind. People addressed all type of personal issues and societal issues. We gave cash prizes. We had free food then as well with books also. That was great. I did my first photographic art exhibit, photos that different photographers took at events that I did during the pandemic. We put those up in a local art institution. Yeah, man, we just built community, like we had fun and we took care of the people. Like we
I
did what we were
love
supposed to
it.
do.
I love it. I love it. Just golden to me. Just golden. Um, Going to the topic of this whole platform, when is a time that you shattered the glass?
Yo, I love this. When I saw that shot of the glass, I'm like, yes, because like one specific, right? So again, like I said, at 7 years old, I knew that like, yo, I want to do that. Like I want to write. I want to like use my words, right? I think, and I was already doing it before that. I just didn't know that like that's a thing like that you could get big off of using words. I was already writing poetry, right? I was already like I love stories. I would have me and my cousin would reenact Ghostbusters, stuff from Ghostbusters, right? But I remember in third grade, I believe, the guidance counselor at PS 111, third grade, right? That's what I think the year they changed from graduating in sixth grade to graduating in fifth grade. So I was like,
Mhm,
okay, next year I was gonna be a junior and then senior, right? So that's when they
mhm.
start asking you to start thinking about what you want to do when you get older. And I remember saying I want to write books, I want to make movies, and I want to travel, like and help people. And I remember my guidance counselor saying, "Put the glasses down," and she said, "That's a nice dream, but let's be a little more realistic." I was like, all right. So now the rest of my years, although I still wrote a little bit, like especially after my dad died, like I didn't believe that it was possible. Although I knew that it was because like growing up in Queensbridge, Silver Cup Studios is literally right across the street from Queensbridge Projects. Kaufman
Right.
Studios is down the block. We had Hype Williams Studio was there. I remember seeing people, driving nice cars, and I remember people having nice lives who like made movies for a living, and they weren't always the ones like on camera, but sometimes they were. Um, and so fast forward all these years later, after like going to prison, after like, having suicidal ideations. And I remember I sat with a gun to my head, right, contemplating suicide. After all of the struggles, all of the trials and tribulations, like earlier this year, not only did I go back to that same school, right, and show my documentary, I showed my documentary at that school, right, but I also was the keynote speaker, right, at the graduation. You know what I mean? So that's like shattering the glass that was created for me. Like, now you can't do this because, and then even deeper than her saying it, people told me I couldn't be a speaker and I couldn't do it because I had a stutter, like I gaps in my teeth, right? And I didn't graduate college and I dropped out of school and I didn't have all of these things. They said, nah, you can't, not like that, not like that. You can't, right? It's better if you do this. You can't do it that way. And I did it. And so like, I absolutely shattered the glass. We broke through. I'm so grateful and excited and thankful, like to myself for continuing and to my community for supporting me and believing in me because, again, I've always had a lot of support and I've always had a lot of people believing me and pushing me, so I'm really grateful for that.
Nah, I love it. I respect that even more so. And it's so funny that you took yourself back to 7, 8 year old you, right?
Yeah,
Yesterday, I had another interview with another guest, and she's
yeah,
doing great work in the Bronx. Shout out to Connie. And it was funny because I told her I went to a conference in 2017 where the guy took us
yeah,
all on this journey type of ordeal. Like, think back to your childhood,
mm,
because your childhood and the activities that you thought of or you were doing, even as in playtime,
mm-hmm.
really was a mirror for you to
Yep,
understand where you were going in your
100%,
future, right?
100%.
So I told her, I said, I remember lining all my dolls up and pretending I was teaching them. And I had a class. I had a class. And matter of fact, my mom was going to business school or whatever. And so her and my grandmother both had like college books and stuff in the house.
Yeah.
Definitely had a whole encyclopedia set, right?
Yeah,
And
same.
so
Yep.
back then you had to have the encyclopedia set, okay?
Yeah, that's it.
And so then sitting there and going through those books with my students. So I'm
Nice.
talking business, I'm talking history, I'm talking
Nice.
all different types of things. So
Nice.
yes, I'm a glorified nerd.
Yo,
Never put two and two together until we had that conversation in 2017.
what's the name said it? Jay-Z said it in around. That's why music is so relevant. Jay-Z said a simple line. You was who you was before you got here. Like we are who we are. Like we are who we are, right? Like it's a spirit inside of us that like,
Ah,
as
that's so
long as
deep.
we could like follow it, as long as we could listen to it, like we're gonna become who we know we should become, who we desire to become. And so like
Yes. Oh,
it's
oh
just
my God. No, I'm seriously, I just love it. I think people are messaging me because they're like they trying to get on or whatever. I'm just gonna jump on this. I'm gonna do something in the background here, but I'm gonna ask you a question while I
yeah.
while I do this, right? Um, whew, I'm just stuck. I just love that moment of somebody doubting you and you coming back full force, and it comes back full circle. And because there and I say that because I hate, and I use that word very strongly,
Mm,
when we tell children what they can't be, cannot be,
mm,
can't do, and won't do. And so that's why for me it becomes personal even when I hear these sentiments, because for me it's like we don't know who's sitting in our classroom.
100%.
I don't know who's before me. That's why it was like for me, like some people are saying, like, uh how it is right now with being a new mom and what's really different. And I'm like, nah, he just get the same love that I've been showing everybody else's child.
Mm,
And because it was that strong and that real for me,
mm,
in saying, yo, I want to see you succeed out here. No matter where you come from or whatever. No child asks to be born. We don't have the capacity of doing what our livelihood could look like in those little ages, right? We can change our lives once we become adults. We get our own bread,
mm.
we're gonna do our own thing. But as a kid, you subjected to whatever your parents got folded out for you. Spiritually you chose them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. That's another
Spiritually you
level.
chose them. That's a
That's another
different level.
level.
That's a whole nother level.
That's another level.
But in this meantime of this time frame, you are limited on how you can change certain things. So all we have here is this.
Yep.
And so if I'm telling you and I'm here now and I'm like, yo, I think I could be a speaker, I could be a global traveler, I can make a difference, I could be a world healer. Why would you try to negate me from that?
Mm. Because it's so right is pity the fool, right? Mr. T said pity the fool, right? Is because they couldn't do it, right? And because the person who, and it's just blindedness, right? Because the person who in their mind they see doing those things may not look like how you look right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Physically, like because of your complexion, right? Maybe because of your height, maybe because of your shape. They're like, oh no, the person who do those, the person who does those things, they create this image of this, archetype, right? That's so far removed from themselves. So they can't see it in themselves. Of course, they can't see it in a child, especially if that child is coming from an impoverished community or impoverished family or something like that. And they know that child may have some, issues at home or something like that. They're like, what? What makes you think you could do that? Right.
Right.
So that's all it is, man. It's just misplaced love. You know,
Mm.
that's all it
Or
is.
or as my man Nas say, confused admiration.
100%. That's exactly what it is.
Woo! Oh
That's,
my
that's
goodness.
all it is.
This
And
is
once you know that, then is because really to rise to your highest heights, you can't do it in anger. So like even those of us arousing when people are doubting us, like we feel it, but then we got to turn it around and be like, yeah, right? And I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna show you not because I care so much about showing you, it's because I'm gonna show myself anyway. But you're gonna catch a glimpse, right? You're gonna catch a glimpse of this rise.
Let me ask you this. Where did you get your Pan-African concepts from?
Um,
Like, what makes you think and say, you look at people? Because I mean, I'm telling you now, since the pandemic, I ain't seen all types of wars out here. I'm serious. Like, we got money wars, gender wars, color wars, and I'm just like, why is everybody just mad, right?
everybody's mad.
And within the diaspora,
Mhm.
and this talk about reparations. You over there, stay over there. You over there, you stay over there. Everybody got to go after this in their own small subgroup.
Mhm.
And I think politically it's a little divisive. I understand it.
100%.
I understand it. I think it's necessary. I'm gonna just put my own personal point opinion out there real quick.
Mhm.
I think that it's an all entire thing. You know me. I'm so and in both, right? I'm
You have to
never
be.
like
You have
one
to be.
or one unless it's something firm that to stand on. But when it comes to looking at my people, and we both have backgrounds that are diverse in its own way, uh, where did you get your spirit of Pan Africanism from?
My family. My dad was, my dad was a black man from the South. He was an older black man from the South, ran a business. He taught you take care of your people, right? You take care of your people. Remember where you come from. Right? Literally, that was remember where you come from. Take care of your people. My granddad, my mom's dad, same thing. He was from Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica.
Mhm.
Fought in World War II, and he always like take care of your people. You recognize that it's a war, right? Like it's always a war. And there's some people who don't like your people for whatever reason. So you have to love your people even more so, right? Don't focus on so much on people who don't like your people. Focus more on your people. Focus more on where you come from and how you can protect, right? That which is the only thing that truly matters is your heritage, right? Like it's your essence. Like people who lived and died. You know what I mean? Just in general, right? Forget fighting for something, just living and dying, and we are part of them. And they had dreams and they had hopes and they had wishes and you know what I mean? They had lives that we need to carry, understanding that like no matter how, you take an apple tree and the apple falls and you take that apple and you pack it in your bag and you take it across the world. No matter how far that apple goes from that tree, it is still part of that same tree. Like its seed, the root, its essence is still connected to the first seed, right? It's still interconnected forever. Um, and so knowing that is like, yo, human civilization started in Africa, like, and we need to get back to the beginning. To we need to get back to a better place, mentally, right, emotionally. We need to create a better world. And so that's where it comes from. It comes from my family. It comes from again studying Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey when I was young. Those were two of my favorites. For what they did, for their visions, for humanity, for Black people. Um, yeah, just it's in me. Like it's just in me to take care of self. You know, take care of self.
No, I mean I appreciate that. I just think I mean I know you, so I can ask that question, but I did want to know, personally, where did that come from? Because I know for me it came from my parents,
100%.
as well. And so growing up,
Parents, and
Ross.
then what was so dope, real quick. I remember my dad passed August '95. In October '95, my brother took me to the Million Man March. So I'm 11 years old, just lost my dad, and I was at the Million Man March October 15th, 1985 in Washington, D.C. All right. And it was the most people I seen in one spot at one time. Right, like Black people, good Black people who were smiling, right, who were loving each other. You know what I mean? Who talking about a message of unity and empowerment and taking care of each other, right, and providing the resources that's needed for the children, the babies, to grow and be safe. And so that was big too. Like that was big. Getting it from the music, right? Growing up again, being the '80s baby, getting it from the
But
music.
hold on. Do you think that you walked away with a part of that
Of
still to
course.
this day?
Of course, especially because I remember going back to it just makes me sad. I remember going to the 20-year anniversary in 2015, and I remember being extremely disappointed, right? Extremely disappointed
Why?
because I just looked at the scope. I was like, all of the buses, right? All of the gas, right? All of the planes, right? All of the tickets, all of the hotels. Where's all that money going? Right. So like we're all coming to one central location and it's costing a lot of freaking money. And where's the majority of money going? Yeah, we got vendors and we got some black people making some money, but like, and it just disappointed me. Like it was like, are we coming just to talk, right? And just to congregate? Because like it seems worse now, 20 years later than it was then. Right. For me, from my perspective. So it's like, what do we really do? And like, just me being, and again, at that time, 2015, already being in this work, right? Like thinking as a strategist, it was like, what's a better strategy to like, because the point is getting people to action. And I just started thinking, would it not be more powerful to have 1 million people in each city, right? Have people in each city coming together, right? And building at the same time on the same day. Let's all pick this day and this time to organize a demonstration of some sort, right? I think so. Yeah, I was disappointed, but I absolutely, and I was disappointed only because I knew what I felt as a child, right? Like being a child with my older brother and his friends, and their friends, and like it was incredible. And I felt so like, yo, we're gonna be all right. My dad is gone, but as black men gonna take care of me. And yes, some black men absolutely did take care of me, and some black men we did not take care of the community.
How important is brotherhood to you?
Brotherhood is everything. Brotherhood is the closest, is the thing that's next to manhood. It's your manhood and your brotherhood. And I say it often, like right now in the world, we have to redefine brotherhood in our community. We have to start having conversations. We have to redefine what brotherhood means, because to me, brotherhood is this. Brotherhood is if we brothers, and even if we're living different lives, right? If I'm living this positive lifestyle, you in the street, something happens to you, like brotherhood is checking in with you, like, yo, what's up? Like, how do you want to handle this? Right? And like have a real conversation with you. But some people now, they just back up like, oh, that's his business. Right? Even when it comes to children, it's like somebody dies, something happens, and it's like the children is just like, yo, we got to check in with each other. And yeah, it's hard. Life is tough. Life is fast. We got our own responsibilities. A lot of people are stressed out for a lot of different reasons right now. But I just think like we got to do a better job at exemplifying brotherhood, because it's written through the religions. It's in Christianity. Like there's nothing sweeter than brotherhood, right? And so yeah, like that's all I think that's all most of us ever seek. Like with searching to identify ourselves as men, as young men, and then as men. Right with that is we seek brotherhood. I know I sought brotherhood. I knew who I was young, and so like consciously, I was seeking brotherhood. Because I know that number one, right, it makes me a better person. I have accountability partners. I have accountability brothers. So they're going to push me to be my best. That's one thing with brotherhood. But then it's also because it's like that's how we grow the community. That's how me having a vision in my head of like, I can't do it by myself. The vision I have for this work, for my community, for my family, I can't do it alone. Yeah, I need my sisters. I need my brothers though, right? Like I need my brothers to like let's envision this world together.
What I want to double back just a little bit, because when I think of the Million Man Movement, I think of knowledge of self. I think of it. When I think of knowledge of self, I think history, period. Why is history important?
It's everything. Like again, going back to the apple that's 100,000 miles removed from the tree that originally fell from. Even the tree could be cut down. Where does the apple come from? If you don't know, you don't really know what's inside of it. You don't really know what it's made of. You don't know where it came from. Do you don't know its potential harm, right? Potential for greatness. You don't know anything if you don't know where it came from. If you just look at it and examine it for what it is, you don't know anything. And so history is just a collection of things that led up to now, right? And that's most important. They say, if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. And as cliche as it is, and as I think a lot of people use it as a cop out to not go forward, right? To always study history and not take action to move forward and even envision a new world. It's like you gotta know right? Because history will tell us, right? We know history. So even recently with the pandemic, right? COVID-19, oh, how do we help the people? How do we do this, right? Not even getting into like why it started or any of that, but just how do we help people? History's told us that in 1919, right, when the last time they had the pandemic, they put people in the sun outside and people actually healed and lived longer and there was less deaths once they started to do that, right? So like a simple history is like, oh, this happened before? What did we do last time this happened? Right, a simple search and to read and to think. So yeah, like that's it's extremely important to understand. You have to understand the world, right? Not even you as an individual. I mean, you as an individual, yes, but even bigger than that, you have to understand the world and the systems and how things are operating, how things came to be, right? Like one of the biggest things, we don't like taxes, right? People don't like taxes. They taxes us too much money on my taxes. If you study history, you will know that one of the reasons that America came to be was because they were tired of getting taxed against their will by Great Britain. It's like, no, we need to separate. We need independence, right? And you would know that. So now, if you know history, now when I start talking about the independence, you won't think I'm being anti-American or you won't think I'm being unpatriotic. Like I'm being extremely patriotic when I say we, the American people, need to rebel against the government. Like that's the American way, right? History tells you that. History can give you the confidence when you have these thoughts and these feelings. You think that is against the will, or it goes against the church, or it goes against the. You're supposed to. And history will tell you that, right? In any field that you're in, no matter what you love, you study the history of that thing. You will know that, like, nah, you're supposed to be fighting for your liberation and for your freedom. You're supposed to be doing it collectively as a whole. And historically tells you you don't need everybody. We just need a few. The few always overcome the many. The few that are focused, that are strong, that are determined, always overcome the many that are just there aloof, just there because. So like history is everything.
Do you think we're under a spell?
Of course. 100%. Like that's what spelling is, that's what broadcasting is, right? That's what mainstream media is, right? They broadly cast a spell to use these words and these images, these sounds and these colors, right? Pythagoras wrote something many years ago, right? The theory of sound and color, right? Certain sounds, certain colors can emit, right? A certain feeling, a certain frequency in you to make you move and do certain things, right? That you don't even know why you're doing. You don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it. You don't know the effect of what you're doing. You can't see past. You can't even see anything. You have sight, but you don't see. Right. So yeah. But somebody told me something years ago. My man Ben Judah, right? We was having a debate. Ben Judah was Amari Stoudemire's spiritual advisor. I remember we was in they had a spot in the city when Amari played for the Knicks. We was in the spot having a debate. They're Hebrew Israelites, right? We're having a debate and they study the Bible. And I don't at that point I was like, the Bible, like I've read it, but but the brother said something that was so profound. He said, the same tools they use to enslave us and oppress us, we can use to free us and liberate us. And then I looked at it differently. And I was like, oh, you got it. You got it. So yeah, like
That's
spell
wow.
casting is real, but we can use the same tools to like reverse the spell and then recast it in another way. And that's what I'm doing. That's why we doing what we doing the way we doing it, baby.
I love that. I love that. I like that. I'm gonna have to come back, rewind this, and capture that, and make sure I throw that up as a quote. I'll shout y'all out, both of y'all, for that.
Appreciate you.
I love that. What is one message to the youth? Because things are getting passed down. We done touched on history a little bit. What's your one message to the youth that's coming up today?
To love yourself. I think the message should always be the same. To know yourself and to love yourself. Right? Because once you know yourself, once you love yourself, then you can start to honor yourself. You can start to protect yourself. You can start to create for yourself. Follow your heart, right? Like this is your destiny is written in your heart. What you're supposed to be doing, who you're supposed to be with is written in your heart, is written in the stars. So like study your heart, get more into the ancient sacred sciences, right? Get more into astrology, get more into these things. Understand that life is mathematical. A lot of young people now don't like math, right? Math is literally adding like this action plus that action, this thought plus that thought, this place plus that equals that. So you have to use the equations just in a different way,
Yes.
but that's written in our hearts. And so I just want my young people to don't look at solitude. Don't look at, time with yourself as a bad thing. It's great to have fun with your friends. It's great to turn up, but also turn inward so that you can, because we all have dreams, right? Every young person has a dream, until that dream is deferred, right? Until it's stolen, it's snuffed out. But we have dreams. I want young people to like have the courage, know that you have it inside of you to make it happen, whatever it is. Even if you feel you have no support, even if you feel your family doesn't, whatever, like follow your heart. Don't be afraid to stand on your own. Know that you have a voice. Use your voice. Your voice is powerful.
Yeah.
And do your work in the way that you do it. Respect your parents, respect your elders. Honor them, but also know that you have your own life, and your life path may be completely different than what everybody around you wants for you. So follow that, even if it means walking alone, right? As early as you can, right? And it's tough. And I think I go back, and the story is completely different, and it's completely not exactly as I'm about to say it. But one of the things, I remember doing some reading just about the different prophets and messengers, right, that have come, to earth. And I remember reading what separated, what they say, right, separated Jesus the Christ, right, from the others, which was made his story so memorable, right, is that he never forgot who he was, right, is that they say Jesus, remember, he was God from birth. And I think that's extremely powerful. It's like just the concept of remembering who you were. As long as Rebecca, I'm God and this is my life and I'm powerful and I'm magical. Yeah, I'm small and I need my help. I need help from my parents walking and eating and things like that. But like, I'm here, right?
And I came here on a mission and a
Came here on a
purpose.
mission and a purpose.
What do you think? Not what do you think? What is your purpose as we sit here today together in this moment? What
You
would you
said
say
it.
would be your purpose right now?
You said it. It's to heal the world. The tattoo on
To
my
heal the
head.
world.
My purpose is to heal the world, like
I
to
just wanted to
liberate,
hear you say it again. I mean, cut us some slack. Jesus.
to liberate,
I
to
want to hear you say it again.
heal the world, to liberate fallen humanity, to lift up the people, and remember that, like, if you don't take care of the mother, if you don't take care of the originator earth, if you don't take care of earth, if you don't take care of the African people, the people who started civilization, nothing's going to be right. Right? No matter how right
Ooh.
it looks, if you don't take care of the original, right, the source, then like no matter how good it seems and looks and feels, is transient. You know what I mean? And it's not really what it's supposed to be. And so yeah.
You dropped the Julia. Let me ask you this question because I'm eating up your time, but
Yes, you good. We good. We got time.
you owe me some minutes.
We got time. We got time. I got you. We got time.
What's your concept on? Okay, let me because I be arguing with people all the time, and I offend a lot of men
Go ahead.
when I say the black woman is God.
Of course.
Oh, so you're not offended by it? Okay.
No, only I think again that's that I think conditioning is what offended us because number one, you gotta understand when you read and you learn and you study science and you really like understand and get out of your own emotions, you realize that gender is in all things. So just as someone could say the black woman is God, you can say yes, and the black man is God too. And it's true. And it's like, okay, then you can argue, and then that's when it becomes fun, which came first. That's when it just becomes fun. It shouldn't be an argument about like right or wrong. It's just like, okay, did a man have the woman first? Did the woman have the man first, or was it a hermaphrodite? Did the first human have both reproductive organs? That's when you get into the fun conversation. It's like, oh wow, let's really think about this here. But if we're stuck on arguing about who's God, because it's like, understand God is just a word that means supreme being. This is why in ancient times they had God of war, they had God of water, they had the God of healing, they had the God of travel, they had the God of everything.
Yes.
Right? Like it just means the supreme being, the highest level of that thing, of that species. That's all the word means. We get so caught up. And then even if we want to go back and talk about God and spirit, it's like the most ancient term, God was synonymous with nature. And we've always said Mother Nature, Father Time. Like we got to go back to these old things, the old ways, right? Go back to history. Mother Nature, Father Time. It's like they became one, they married. One does not exist without the other.
Yes.
Like time exists. Time exists because of nature. The seasons changing. the
Yes.
environment changing, the temperature, the climate. That's how you know time is this. Like, okay, we're gonna measure from this to this. But the fact that nature happens, right? Any act of nature is a moment, it's time. So the mother and the father exist as one, not separate. But that's what they did. They tricked us, said Father, Son, Holy Ghost, as though it's mother, father, right? It's mother, father, they're
And
one, they're
child.
inseparable. And
That is the
child.
real Holy
That's the Holy
Trinity.
Trinity.
So okay, brother. Yeah, we gonna do a build on another
Yeah,
time for
let's
that.
do it.
We got to, because one, I was definitely out here stepping on people's toes. Two, I was like, y'all ain't read enough to come
You're
sit
not.
with me. I'm gonna be honest with you. It wasn't that, and I wasn't trying to even be offensive to um the brother. It was just like, nah, you don't. I can't. I'm not mad at you. You just don't know.
Even is a book called The Lost Years of Jesus, right? And then I forgot who wrote it.
I'm gonna
I
write
think
that down.
the Spanish guy wrote it, and it's Saint Issa, right? That's they call him. That was his name, right? When he went to the Tibetan mountains, right? Saint Issa, right? And in that book, he says something about like just reverencing mother, right? Like the totality of existence depends on the woman. Reverence her, right? Like, but that's not in the Bible. That's not in Christianity. So people talk about Jesus is like, come on, stop. Like you haven't. It's so deep, but yeah, mother, woman, God, absolutely. And we're one, and it's like, yo, let's build.
Yes, build. I love that. I love that. I think until, even
Oh, it cut off. Oh, sister, where you at? Where you at? Where you at?
yeah, I'm not sure what happened to me. You still there, right?
Yeah, I'm here. Hold on, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Hold on, I'm coming. I'm coming back. 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 Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
I would say
Yeah,
YouTube. Were
you
you
left me.
offended, YouTube? Yeah, nah. You like what? Like word? Like what happened there? Who got offended by this conversation? Because I swear, every time it go there, some weird things happen in my technology world. I'm serious.
Oh
I'm
wow.
serious. It's very weird. Very weird.
Mm.
I'll take that. We'll have to do back room discussions, and I'll put it on one of these other platforms,
Okay.
and y'all
Yeah.
subscribe to that, and we dive deeper where we ain't got to be worrying about the man or well, not even the man, okay, the robot kicking us out
The
because of
robot.
keywords,
The
the
robot.
keywords or phrases that was just stated. Okay, we're still here. For real, it's the bots. It's the bots. Matter
Yo,
of fact, how
yo,
do you feel
yo.
about that with the bots coming? I mean, community about to look real different.
Yeah, real different, man. Yeah, it's whew, it's dangerous, right? But again, you know what I learned something a while ago, and I learned something reading, right? The Secret Teachings of All Ages is one of the greatest volumes I've ever read. It just has a bunch of different books. So like Stones, Metals, and Gems. That's what I read about the theory of sound and color. But in the mystic Christianity part, it spoke about I lost my thought. What did you ask me? I lost the thought. My brain is pinging.
No, I said, how you feel about
The
technology
box,
and
yes.
community?
So
Because
in
communities,
in 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 that book, Mystic Christianity, it just spoke about something, right? It spoke about um the person who created Frankenstein, and Frankenstein destroyed its creator, right? So it's like the understand that like life is eternal. Everybody's not gonna live 100 years. Everybody's not gonna live 50 years. Some people are gonna transition in many different ways. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. The growth of society, yes, robots are coming, right? They're here already, right? They're going to be more and more spaces, right? But this is what humanity asks for, and humanity is going to learn, right, how to take care of itself after a couple of crazy things happen. But then we're going to merge and like figure out how to become one, right? Because humans are evolving. Humans are always evolving.
are you leaning towards transhumanism?
I'm not leaning towards it. I mean, this is what they're going to do. It's going to be a part of the evolution of humans. And of course, and that is challenges. There's a lot of challenges. You know what I mean? But I think as long as, which is why it's important that um, um, some of us stay as pure as possible, eating as much as possible, as I mean, eating as best as possible, right? So that like, because there's always going to be subgroups, there's always going to be some separate, right? So it's like in this book, so many books, right? Ancient Future by Wayne Chandler. In the back of the book, the index, I forgot the archaeologist's name, right? Because historically they said dinosaurs existed, dinosaurs became extinct, humans came billions of years later. In this book is an archaeologist that speaks about in Texas, there were some footprints found. There was some footprints found, um, two sets of footprints next to each other, side by side. Right, one set of footprints was like 12, 13, like feet long, like some crazy length and width, and the pressure of it. They knew that like it was a dinosaur, right? And then next to it, it was another set of footprints. It was like smaller. The pressure of it and the size of it looked like it could be like maybe an 8 to 10 foot being, right? Weighing at a certain weight. It was like, yeah, humans walk side by side with dinosaurs. Right.
Listen, it's not even that far stretched when you travel outside of America and you
Mm.
see other countries and you see the goats and the cows moving on their own time, minding their business, and people just living too. Okay, so I know that all of the species have coexisted. Now, the levels of respect and what caused what and who came first, I have no clue about. I'm not even going to sit here and try to pretend that in the conversation. But I will say we know that we have existed for a very long time. There are billions of species that have been here for millions of years, seen and unseen.
Mhm.
Just even if you watch, and this is no, like, I'm not getting anything from saying that, but there was a wonderful, well, not wonderful, but interesting documentary on mushrooms that's on Netflix, right? Something about fungi,
Mhm.
and they um they go back to showing how this fungi has existed for millions of years
Crazy,
and it's still
crazy,
here. You know what I
crazy.
mean? It's still
Yeah.
doing great things. And then the layers of how there's so many different species of mushrooms, period, and how they impact our body. And
Mm.
so, like, I've
Mhm.
been experimenting with lion's mane's mushroom, but I've been making crab cakes. I haven't been taking it in capsules like everybody else. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But helping regenerate cells and
Yep.
tissues and stuff within our body. And so I just think that, again, this is why I know I have to bring my brother back
Yes.
so we can
So
have
much to talk about.
yeah, it's a lot to talk about. I want to
Mhm.
unmet food. I want to
Yep.
unmet
Psychedelics, you said mushrooms, like psychedelics, like that's food, baby. That's my thing. I think psychedelics, like I want to actually get. There's a company they do some mushrooms. They got the chocolate covered mushrooms, and they was like, "Yo, this is exactly what the hood needs." And I was like, "It is." And so, I think people in the hood, because of our trauma, right? Because it's
yeah.
I don't know, it's it's a, like here, like it's proven.
What is
Sorry,
happening?
it's been proven that mushrooms specifically, but many psychedelics help with trauma, right? Help with overcoming
Mhm.
trauma, you know. And so it's like, yeah, I just think that more people in the hood. I'm gonna start a campaign, right? I'm gonna start a more psychedelics campaign because we're doing alcohol, cigarettes, weed, we're doing lean, we're doing all the other stuff that's right aside from weed is cool. It helps definitely as a sedative, help you meditate, help with pain and all of that stuff. But all the other stuff is doing way more harm than good. But because the psychedelics been seen as bad, it's been painted as bad. Somebody had a bad trip. All of this stuff is like, okay, right? Like somebody had a bad trip on alcohol. That's not deterring you from drinking,
Yeah.
right? But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's we got to build on a few more topics, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds around that. And let's just work out whatever dates and schedules we need to. You
Yep.
busy? I'm about to become more busy,
Yeah,
so
you are.
um I want us to get that information out there because everyone doesn't know, right?
It's a
And so
fact.
we just happen to be two nerds that like to read. I don't even want
Yeah.
to say nerds. We just
Yeah.
two people who
Two
read.
people like to read. Yeah.
Two people that like to read, and get into putting the information out there that will enlighten our communities and level up. I want to see the frequency change. You know what I mean? I've been watching patterns with the news and stuff. And to those of you who are watching, be careful watching the news all the time.
Hmm.
It's
Facts.
energy draining.
Somebody
And
said,
it's purposely done, it's purposely set up to do that.
no, it is. Somebody said a couple years ago, somebody said, the news is not meant to inform you, it's meant to put you in a certain mindset. It's meant to create a certain atmosphere, right? It's a state of fear. That's what it's meant, fear. The first you look at, I don't even watch the news, but if I'm at my mom's house, and she doesn't watch it that much anymore either. But within the first 30 seconds, the first intro to the news is murder, is rape, is somebody going to jail for some crime for stealing, right? A building that fell, somebody that died over here somewhere. It's just, you're afraid of everything. You watch the
Yeah.
news.
But I mean, it literally sucks the goodness out of you.
Yeah,
If you were feeling great and happy, now you heard all these sad stories and it just zaps you. And I feel like it's not even a feeling. I know that those type of techniques are used to keep you focused on what you need to do for yourself to continue to level up. Like it's like bringing you back down into the dark well. And so
100%.
I just want to say, I want people to be mindful because we said a lot here tonight with each other, and all of these things play into parts with each other. And when I think of myself and I hold the goal getter events, people, I'm
Yeah,
gonna, I want to get into hosting some more. God willing, we can do that, whether it be virtually or in person. Listen, I'm so flexible with certain things at this point. Um, that we start looking at the different aspects of our lives and what's impacting them so that we can continue to grow and prosper to what we're supposed to be doing. It's a personal belief for me that I believe everybody's supposed to prosper in something.
100%.
You know, um, and so actually my last question for you tonight is uh damn, I had two questions.
Yeah.
What do you want to see in the community in the next 3 to 5 years? I'm gonna go to that question.
More of our own independent media hubs, right? We need our own independent media hubs. We need to take control of the narrative. We need to understand that news is trash, right? But news is necessary, right? Like we need
Right.
news. Just mainstream media is trash, right? The news that they're giving us, the stuff that they want us to be informed about, and the information they're giving us is not always accurate. So I just want to see us take more control of our media, like have more independent media outlets, making our own films, telling our own stories, right? More positive independent media outlets, highlighting, the young people who are excelling in school, highlighting, the people that are getting married, right? Highlighting the people who are overcoming illnesses, celebrating the people who are launching businesses, the people who are the babies being born, like create just positive media outlets about just general life, period, in the community, throughout the
Absolutely.
country, throughout the diaspora. And another thing is I really want to see more love between the men and the women. Right. We can have issues with each other. We can have healthy conversations about how we've been hurt by each other. That's ultimately what it is men are hurt by women, women are hurt by men, and we're just spewing venom at each other. And I would like to see more love, more healthy conversations, healthy debates, and really like supporting each other more.
Yeah,
Because we need each other truly.
we need each other. We need each other. I always, made me think back. This is a little off topic, but on topic. And another woman was like, "Oh, she taking credit for being the mommy and the daddy," and I was like, "But you can never
Mm,
be the daddy.
you can never be the daddy.
You can never be the daddy."
And this is what it is, right? Like we'll talk about that real quick. That happens because you think mommy, daddy, you think mommy nourishes, daddy provides, right? So it's like they're saying that mommy and daddy providing, and just say that you're an exceptional mom. You're as a mom doing more than what you should have to do, but you can't be dad. Like you can't. It's just an energy. You're not a man, right? Like
Yeah,
you cannot teach your child certain things, right? Like it's just not possible, but that comes from hurt, right? It's like, well, if the daddy ain't doing nothing, I'll do that daddy's part. That's where it
Yeah.
comes from. Because
Yeah.
too many times there are women who are doing the daddy's part.
Yeah.
They're teaching the children how to fight. They're teaching the children how to be tough. They're teaching the children how to fix things. Like, I've seen it, in my life. My
Yeah.
situation was my dad passed, but I've seen it too many times.
Yeah, not even that, because it was funny, right? Totally off topic. This is why I like Shattered Glass, because we're about to shatter some people's glasses. Listen,
Yeah.
so they like these few women was in this, like I said, in this discussion. And I'm like, I bet you are doing great because you're covering this role that you have to, right? I'm mad that you
Mhm.
have to. But
Absolutely.
sis, when you're raising him, are you raising him to be the man that you would hope for what a
Mm,
great man looks like? Or are you raising a repeat of what you just broke up from?
mm,
Be conscious of certain things, because while we are women who have been hurt by men, all women have been hurt by men in one way or another, right? It's
mhm.
just part of life. You grow through it, and then you realize, hey, all of that, it ain't for me. You know what I mean? And you grow it. You as you level up, um, you learn some things, and so I'm like, don't create the man that left you,
Mm.
because we
Facts.
have to be wise about what we say in front of our kids. We have to be mindful of what we do in front of them. Nobody is perfect. Y'all know I only been a parent over 5 minutes, so I'm not trying to come it from that perspective, but as a person who have worked with youth all of the time, I'm saying the same man that you angry with, just make sure that's not who you are breeding, because at the
Mm.
end of the day, he's going to be the same upset person to another young woman that's out here in this world.
Yeah, for real.
And it's because you haven't healed. And so I'm with you. I want to see more healing happen, and that might mean having those tough conversations with people
Mhm.
in these type of spaces, because I don't even know what's the sacred space. Shout out to you. I want to give my brother his love and stuff too. He's been doing a grievance group. I have not
Mhm.
been I haven't been local during any of your sessions. I've been out of town, but I think that's huge. I would definitely love to be a part of it, sitting in. I got a lot to grieve over. This was a very
Yeah,
hard year.
yeah.
Um and so, I think that
And,
is major.
even talking about grief, one of the things that, I uncovered for some people during the groups is that when we think about grief, we normally associate grief with only death or transition, where grief
Right.
is any feeling, any grief is an emotion that arises once your life has been altered in any way, right? Your job, your relationship, your parenting, right? Your children cause you grief. Grief is annoyance, right? Like, good grief, like, come on, causes so much grief is that emotion that's just uncomfortable emotion. So once we can normalize grief, everybody grieves in one way or another.
Right.
Every single human has grieved. Most humans are still grieving right now from one thing or another because life keeps happening. You know,
Yes.
um, then we can talk about it. Then we can really I think we can really truly heal. And one of the things also is understanding that, well, most people look at healing as a destination, right? Like, oh, I'm healing, I'm going to be healed. It's like, you're always going to be healing. It's a continuous process, ever, forever. As long as you live, you're going to be in that process. You'll heal from
That-
some things, and then some things you got to continue to heal from. Some scars, you realize they're never going to fully heal. You just learn to, you don't get over it. You learn to live with it.
Live with it.
And it's part of you now. It's part of who you are now. And it's okay. My dad been gone 27 years. I still cry for my dad sometimes. I don't cry from a, dad, why did you leave me? I don't cry from a pity spot. I just cry like, I wish that guy was here, man. But then I
Yeah.
remember he's not. Actually, he is. He's inside of me. I am him. I have the answer. I have the wisdom. Yeah, I don't have his physical touch, but I can get that from somebody else if I need it. All right. So understand that it's always going to be like that. And it's okay,
Yeah.
because it's just a cycle of life.
Cycle. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Um, what next for your 2023 year?
Um, more content. I just shot some skits today, right, with some people. More content, some real films, some real serious films, TV series, um, dropping these books. Right, I got a couple of books I need to drop. And just more, bigger and better, bigger vegan festival. Again, definitely more content, like so much more content, regularly scheduled content, you know.
I love
Also, I'm gonna throw my hat in. I'm a funny guy. I'm gonna do some stand up this year, right?
it.
I'm
Lord.
yeah, yeah. I'm a funny guy. Yeah, I'm gonna do some stand up this year, make some people laugh. All right. Yeah, because I just remember, yeah, right, sister. They said be anything you can want to. They said you could be anything. So I said, why not be everything? If I could be anything, why would I not be everything? If I could think of it, why would I not pursue it? All right. And so, like, yeah, I'm gonna just keep doing it.
That's
Write some
fun.
leading roles for myself and just more traveling. Yeah, that's it.
I like it. I like it. I like it. With New Year's right around the corner here, literally, I know
Yeah.
people are going to start making a list of what they want for the year and all these different things.
Mhm,
One of the key things I want people to do is be reflective.
mhm.
Be reflective, be responsible, and then go out there and blaze a trail.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Keep moving forward no matter what. Just keep moving forward. It's been the theme of my life for the last 6 months. It's always been my theme. I can't even front, but uh keep blazing trails and moving forward because we need you.
Mhm.
We need you in this world. Ray, I love you like I love cake, child.
And you love cake, girl. You love cake, girl.
You know
You
I
know that.
love cake, okay? I want to thank you for taking out this time and building with me tonight.
Of
I
course.
can't wait because I don't know what dates we're gonna play with in the background, but I want you to make sure you come back. I actually
Of
want
course.
you to do a be part of my gratitude challenge. I'm probably gonna kick it
Okay.
off in the next 2-3 days. I'm gonna be honest
Okay.
with y'all, inbox me that, and that'll be out here for the world to see. Follow me on my pages because I have a link to set up for the gratitude challenge. We're taking out 10 days to be grateful and make space for what we really want in 2023 and beyond. And I think it is super important that we enter this year with intention. Um, Intention for ourselves, intention for our families, intention for our communities, and in that order.
Yep.
And in that order,
Yep.
because you are no good to your family or your community if you are not good to self.
So
And so, my brother, how can
yes,
people find you, link you,
go
see you?
go to my website, right? LaShawnMarston.com. That's LaShawnMarston.com. You can go to my Instagram and Twitter is Sugar Ray 4506, SUGARAY 4506. Facebook is Sugar Ray SUGA space RAY. Email is thesugarrayshow@gmail.com, THESUGARAYSHOW@gmail.com. Let's connect, let's build, right? Hit me up. I love the people, man. Oh yeah, I can't tell. I'm gonna tell you behind the scenes. I got something else I'm leaning towards in the next year or so. All right. But we're gonna
I
do big
love it.
things.
Yeah,
We're gonna
we
we doing big things. We building a whole new world over here. And I'm just happy to be on your platform. Thank you for having me. I love you.
thank
I
you. I
love you.
love you
I love
more.
you like I love my veggie burgers, my veggie burger sandwiches. You know what I mean? My Korean barbecue wings and all that. Shout out Urban Vegan Kitchen,
Urban
Urban
Vegan
Vegan Roots.
Road.
Shout out the
Yes.
family.
Yes, yes, yes. I can't wait to we're supposed to do something together soon too, but I gotta wait till I reach back down to town. But
Mhm.
definitely and do something live even from at the shop if is what I
Yeah,
was saying to them last time I was there.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
um I can't wait. I just want to keep having these conversations and showing the people when they can share. We all go through obstacles, you know what I'm saying? And you're going to take that time, you're going to shatter the glass.
yeah.
Understand that, keep rising through It's the breakthroughs where you get the most wins.
Yep, 100%.
My brother, I love
Yeah.
you. Good night.
Good night.
Peace and blessings to the co community. Good night.